Hey guys, I was thinking about this the other day while I was on the toilet, and a couple of months ago I went to Palladium. Do you remember that? You go and it's like just the adult arcade and they got kids there or whatever. I guess this is pre-pandemic, so it's been more than a few months. But I go to Palladium with a buddy of mine. Now we're having a good old time. This is recent. We go there and we thought, what better way to spend an evening? Little Friday evening out. Couple of boys, couple of fellas, having a good old time. So before we go in, we obviously are in the parking lot and we are partaking in some, herbal delight. So we go into Palladium and I gotta be honest, I absolutely just destroyed these kids. I got on like Jurassic Park, started just crushing it, started taking people to town. But the best one was when I went and I found Guitar Hero. I hadn't played Guitar Hero in a couple of years now, it's been a while. Now you gotta understand my headspace for all of this. I'm a little loopy, I'm a little lightheaded, but I got this 9-year-old standing next to me. I don't know this man, I don't know this gentleman. And he came up and I'm, no joke, I'm standing there playing the songs by myself. This guy comes over and straps on, puts on the guitar. He's ready to challenge Matt for some guitars for some business. Wasn't having it. I took this kid to town. I destroyed that little piece of shit. Gotta be honest, it was kind of a fun day. It is a great day on the internet, everybody. Welcome to Assemble. I'm Matt. How you doing? Happy Friday to all of you. And today, it is Free for All Friday. Matt, insert graphic here. We are taking all of your questions today, everybody, and we are continuing this theme of all things Marvel. If you're new to the show, what we do is we get all of the community questions, whether it's from Instagram or it's from the Twitter, and we go ahead and we talk about it. And we do one thing even better than that. We take it a step further because we take all of your YouTubes, your Twitch, your Twitters, your Instagrams, your blogs. We take all of those links, we put them in the description below, so hopefully some other best friends can go ahead and check out all the amazing work that you guys do. You do such a great job supporting me, I gotta make sure that I'm supporting you. So ladies and gentlemen, please go and support everybody by clicking all of their links that are found below. Now this month is all about Avengers. We're talking Marvel's Avengers, the video game, whether it's on PS4, your PC, or it's your Xbox. It's all Avengers this month, ladies and gentlemen. From our figure reviews to our community conversations. And I'm very excited. You know why? It's Friday. You know what I did this morning? Turned on Avengers on my PS4. Yeah, I'm going on PlayStation. Didn't go with the Xbox. I wanted the beta. I also wanted to get me a little bit of Spider-Man when he launches. I have to. What do you expect from me? Ah, you crazy. Think I go Xbox for this? Let's get into all of your MCU Marvel related questions, shall we? We shall. Shall we now? Yes, we shall. Let's go. Josh writes in, basically, if you were casting a late 90s, early 2000s Avengers, who would you cast? Well, Josh, how are you, my friend? Who would I cast for the Marvel's Avengers from the 90s? Okay, Doctor Strange, Adam Sandler. Chris Rock. Fat Thor will be Chris Farley. You can see I'm kind of going with the trend of like SNL. Brad Pitt would be regular Thor and like early Brad Pitt. I want to try and squeeze in the guy from Boy Meets World. Who's that kid? No, better yet, the kid from Wonder Year. Who's that, Brett Savage? Yeah, throw Brett Savage in there. Brett Savage is going to be Phil Coulson from The Shield. Oh, I'm gonna make Wesley Snipes. So Wesley Snipes is going to end up being Nick Fury. And I'm talking more like Wesley Snipes from Demolition Man, like that style. Like it's gonna get crazy. Tony Stark, who's gonna play Tony Stark? Who's got that like ego? Crazy in the 90s, that would have been good. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is Tony Stark. There you have it. There's my Avengers. Oh, Captain America. I totally forgot about Captain America. Jonathan Taylor Thomas from Home Improvement. We put him up on like some boxes to make him tall. There's a ton of CGI now. Like you can make him like 8 feet tall if you wanted to. You can make him big. Jonathan Taylor Thomas. He's got the good face for it. It's clean cut, man. Fantastic. Josh, thank you for the question. BuschLeagueGaming writes in, Jacob, how are you, my man? Thank you very much for having me on the podcast last week. Ladies and gentlemen, please go check out BuschLeagueGaming on your Spotify and your Apple iTunes Music and your podcast services, because I was actually guest star. That sounds conceited. I was a guest body person on BuschLeagueGaming. And we talked about the Marvel's Avengers game. So guys, do me a favor, go check out that episode as well as all the other content those guys do. Jacob writes in, what villain would you like introduced into the new game? So if we're talking, Jacob, we're talking about the Marvel's Avengers game and like what villain would you like to see introduced? I think that Galactus is a kind of a great overarching, like, bigger villain that they could do within the MCU, and specifically within the game. I think that they could go a little bit bigger than that and go with something like Galactus. I mean, you could go with like Kang. He's really good within the Marvel's Avengers lore. He's a really good villain to have. They could go down the route of Thanos. I mean, it's kind of an easy play. I'd also like to see them do some of the MCU villains. We got a taste of Taskmaster in there within the game, but I'd probably say like I'd want to see them try and tackle MCU villains a little bit more. I think Ultron is a great villain, especially in a video game. We've probably seen this a little bit when it comes to like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games, but I'd like to see them tackle, yeah, like a Thanos or maybe an Ultron properly. And Ultron's a good one for a game, in my opinion, because you're dealing with a lot of robots, which makes it a good smashing game, button mash, where you don't feel like you're actually fighting like people, like we've seen in the game so far. I'd probably end up leaning on Ultron. Brandon writes in, hey Brandon, how are you, my friend? Your choice for the next MCU overarching villain and your cast choices to play them. Ooh, very good, my friend. So I think, I said this previously, I think Galactus is to me, Galactus would be my 10-year villain. Galactus would be the next evolution of Thanos, but you don't want to feel like you're rehashing the same steps that you did with the MCU when it came to Thanos, because Thanos, we just got little snippets and tastes of it, you know, over the course of many films and years, and this build up. I like to see them use Galactus. I just worry that at the same time that a character like that is so big, he destroys planets. It does end up being this giant endgame style, and can you really do a lot of movies or themes with Galactus? I'm not too sure. It does allow you to bring in a ton of mystical characters. It allows you to bring in characters like Silver Surfer, for example, to be able to take on Galactus. So stuff like that I'd like to see. To play Galactus, I don't actually think if you actually get any type of actor to play him, because you just CGI the crap out of that. If I was gonna get a smaller character, Brandon, I think you mentioned this too, I'd really like to see Doctor Doom. I mean, obviously we'd be introducing the Fantastic Four, but I'd almost like them to introduce Doctor Doom into the MCU and not have the Fantastic Four like brought in right away, if that makes sense. An actor to play Doctor Doom, I think I'd like to see, you know who I'd like to see play Doctor Doom? There's two people. One is John Hamm. John Hamm is just funny, but he play a very serious, dramatic role. He's got the size and everything, like you can almost see John Hamm as a Bruce Wayne, to be honest. But if I was gonna cast anybody, yeah, I'd like to see John Hamm try out a dramatic MCU role like a Doctor Doom. I think he can hold that part really well. Another one that I could probably see is going to be Christopher Waltz. Christopher Waltz has done a lot of really great movies when it comes to like Django Unchained. He's done a lot of the Quentin Tarantino movies, right? So I think because he's a very dramatic actor, I think he could pull that off really well. If you really want to get, I don't know, like a really scary, maniacal type of Doctor Doom. Depends on the direction they want to go with, but yeah, Doctor Doom is a character I'd really like to see them take a crack at. You can make him a Thanos level villain within the MCU and then maybe have Galactus as that even bigger one that they set up for the next wave of MCU films beyond the current one that we're going through. That's what I would say. I'd probably say Doctor Doom. Thanks, Brandon. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, the two that are there, 1 to 2, hit a sub and a like and a follow. Follow us on Twitter. Twitter.com/assemble_show. That's it. That's the one. We'll put it up here or something. Check us out there. Go to Instagram. Instagram.com/assemble show. Previews, news, updates on all the content. But sub to the show so you guys can help us get to our September goal of 200 subscribers. That is the goal. Thank you so much. Hit the notification bell so you're always updated because we do 3 shows a week. And I hope to see you guys on the next episode. Ryan writes in, hey Ryan, how are you? Now I saw this question and I'm ready to answer you, my friend. Ryan has a question and Ryan says, why hasn't Vision gotten his own movie and TV series? Ryan, are you not on the planet? Have you seen TV? Have you watched have you read the internet in the last 2 years? So Vision, Ryan, just so you all know, Ryan is on BuschLeagueGaming, and Ryan and I had a good conversation regarding Vision. Ryan has a bit of an affinity for Vision. He likes him a lot, and Matt does not. I don't care about Vision. I don't care for him in the comics. I don't care for his relationship with Scarlet Witch. And by the way, Ryan, you have Vision. You have WandaVision. WandaVision is the show on Disney that they're launching in the MCU. It's like a TV show, Ryan. And the 2 characters, they play roles. And like Wanda and Vision are together in a relationship. It's quite fascinating. So Ryan, I guess kind of a more in-depth question and more in-depth point to your question, sir, is am I excited to even see WandaVision? I am curious, and to be honest and serious with you for a sec, I am actually interested to see what they do with the show. I do like Scarlet Witch. I do think that she's a very good character. I wish that they would go a little bit more within her background, being the daughter of Magneto. I think there's a lot more there than what they've played with within the MCU. I think that you could kind of go back into her backstory, and you could even give Wanda her own film, but doing it like a Black Widow, where it's really going to tie into like her childhood and growing up and living under the umbrella of Magneto. There's a lot of bits you can pull from the comics. For WandaVision, I just really haven't seen a ton when they're coming to this show. I am curious because it's an MCU based show, and I think you have great actors in it. I didn't care for the relationship between Vision and Wanda in the movies. I wonder if we're going to go for more of a comedic thing, or it's going to take a drastic turn and it's going to be really dramatic. Maybe they can go and get me on board by making it more dramatic in this series and get me to buy into the relationship more, because I think that's where it didn't really work for me in the MCU, because they are movies and you only have so much screen time to dedicate towards these things to build these relationships up. So I'd rather see them, if they can deep dive this and really flush it out and get me to care, then I'm all in. But until then, I'm not, Ryan. Dusty Mac writes in, what do you think will be the next big event in the MCU? That's a very fascinating question, my friend. Depends what your context for this, Dusty. If you're thinking about, you're not asking about who the next big, villain is going to be. If you're thinking more along the lines of like, okay, we've done the Infinity Stones and we've gone down that path, and that's kind of set up for the rest of the movies. I mean, you could do an Infinity Sword. You could still bring in the stones, but then you're rehashing the same kind of idea. I think you start dabbling in within the multiverse, and I think we start seeing that play in a lot more. The next big event, what I hope, is that we actually get the introduction of the X-Men into the MCU. And I'm thinking after this entire wave and string of MCU-based films, I think that right now we are getting a lot more of the cosmic characters. We're getting a lot of characters that we're not familiar with. We're seeing, like Doctor Strange 2 is going to come out, which, number 1 was a surprisingly really good film. And I think that 2 will do an even better job. And I think that because we saw what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy, where we had these relatively unknown characters from, just a film standpoint, I think that, and we bought in so heavily into Guardians, I think we can see a lot of great stuff with these movies that maybe these characters were not really familiar with, and really buy into the next wave. The next big event for me is going to be bringing in X-Men into the MCU and maybe we are going to see them split off into some multiverse, into multi-dimensions, or just play with the timeline a lot more. I think with the snap that they need to keep referencing back to it. It's such a big historical moment within MCU films. I think that's where we go with it. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our Free-for-All Friday. Thank you very much for submitting your questions. Thank you for watching. If you can, go and support everybody that was nice enough to post these questions. All of their links are in the description below for their YouTube, their Twitch, their blogs, and so on. So please go ahead and support them like they supported me. I can't wait to be able to get my hands on Marvel's Avengers today. It's going to be a very, very awesome day. I hope to see you guys all online this weekend. Remember, do me a favor and subscribe to the show. We are on the road to 200 subs. That is the goal for September. I am very excited that you guys are joining us. Thank you again for all your support, and thank you for assembling with us. See ya.